We are live. I usually do a countdown. Today, I thought that I would pull you in for the countdown. So here we go, 30 seconds out. Let's see what you guys got. What is going on, my people? My people on YouTube, my people from Curtis Sawyer's Indian Writer Radio followers. It is I, Riding Fish. And our topic today is going to be Bison Thunder's closing. I really did ask Curtis to join me for a couple reasons. We all know he's worked in the dealership floor in the buildings, and he actually once told me that he was part of a dealer that closed. So I thought his firsthand experience would be good. And so yeah, he's here today. He's in the back room just staring at me. I can see him in the thing going like, bring me in, coach. Now I got him like next time out. All you guys here, I'm looking forward to saying what up, answering a bunch of questions, and I will tell you a little bit about, I know that I said I was going to interview Doug, the owner of Bison Thunder in St. Paul and Rogers. That didn't happen. I feel a little bit like a loser. That's not something that I really like to say, like, hey peeps, I'm going to interview this guy. It didn't happen. He wasn't comfortable making like a statement like that on video in front of everybody. You know, all my millions and millions, or like tens of people that watch. And Curtis, my mom watches like 5 times. So this is what we're going to do. I have lots of answers. Most of, or all the answers I give you will be public answers. I'll be able to tell people what to do with their lifetime warranties. They're no worries promised. They're 2 years of guaranteed maintenance. So, but before I get started with that, let me bring in the host of Indian Writer Radio and also the host of a new podcast called, let me bring him in. What is that new podcast called, Mr. Sawyer?
It's called Indian Racing Weekly. And we're very excited about this. This is a really cool opportunity that grew out of Indian Writing Radio, where anybody who follows that show knows that I've done a lot of racing coverage especially over the last year. And it now is kind of taken on a life of its own. And I wanted to highlight where Indian motorcycles are being raced, and especially American Flat Track, King of the Baggers, Bagger Racing League, Hooligan Racing, those places where Indian motorcycles is becoming pretty well known. And it's turning out to be a lot of fun. We open the show and we start the series. It's already available now. You'll find it on our Facebook page. And we open the show with the CEO from AMA Pro Racing and American Flat Track, Michael Locke.
Yeah, it was really, I already listened to it. I had a bunch of errands today, pregame. By the way, my pregame meal, we'll talk about that in just a second. But,
that was pretty nice, man.
It was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I love like the technical part. I can't wait to start hearing. He mentions in there a little bit about the rules being changed.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested in hearing that. I hope that as a person that listens to your show, that you take my advice in some of these times where they say something about rule changes, ask them why for me. Be like, hey,
well, if you listen closely to how he explains how the rule changes have become so they believe necessary. Okay. And AMA Pro Racing has an obligation to all of the manufacturers and all of the racers to present as level a playing field as they can. So in 2022, it's going to look pretty different for the Indian Wrecking Crew, and probably anybody who's chosen the FTR 750 is going to look at that bike a little bit differently.
Yeah, well, he mentions, I mean, we don't want to give it all away. People should go listen to it because we don't have enough time to talk, and he's way more educated on it than me. But he does say if 80% of the class is running Indians, there's obviously a big advantage. And then on top of that, if everybody just starts running Indians, you no longer have an open class. You have an Indian class. So it sounds like there's a big push for some other people to get in there and
there is. And let's
spread
face
it
it.
out.
I mean, and publicly, American Flat Track has to talk about it in terms of creating equality, okay, and in the racing performance, right, in the competition level. But the unfortunate part is there's also a lot of pressure from the manufacturers. Look, they want to, the Super Twins class is the highlight. It is the premier. It is the marquee racing program in American racing. And if you can be showcased there in that marquee racing series, now all of a sudden you've got some clout that you didn't have before. And right now they don't have it. 9 of 12 riders are on the FTR 750 in the Super Twins class. Now, that's not the same through the Production Twins and other classes as well. But in that dominant marquee class, there's one motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 75%. I said 80. I was close.
Close.
We got Tim in the house. We got all kinds of people in the house today.
Awesome.
For the people that are just joining, my boy David is in here. For the people that are just joining, Alex, I'm getting to you in just a second.
Right.
If you have a question about Bison Thunder, go ahead and write it down in the comments so that way I can track it a little bit easier, as I have a list wrote down already from
You got some of the FAQs, right?
Yeah, I do, just, and even what I would ask, right? So I have these answers, but what would I ask if I was somebody?
Okay.
And then you can be that guy too, Curtis, today. You can be the guy that asks me. We want to get the answers out. I have a close relationship with those guys at Bison, and
they've been good to you.
Yeah,
they really
have.
Yeah.
I was pretty hurt. I ran up there the next day and I shot video, and I realized something at the end of my video, Curtis. I don't know how much you watched it, but I made a comment. This was fun, right?
Yeah.
And then I signed off.
Right.
But I think that was more of I normally say that, because it wasn't super fun. It was, right? We had a good time.
Is what it was.
And we laughed.
It was very poignant.
You know how
it
you
had
have
been fun.
You know how you have fun at funerals, right? When you're laughing and
that's
God damn it, that's about what it.
Yeah, that's
what
an Irish wake. That's not the same.
All right. Hey, so Alex says, Social Indian Challenger, is Lloyd's going to have a bike at King of the Baggers this time around? The answer is yes. I think they've made that public. If not, congratulations. Riding Fish can't keep his mouth shut. But I don't know any details.
You mean King of the Baggers or what's going on in Sonoma?
He says clear as day, King of the Baggers.
King of the Baggers. Okay, yeah. They are going to field a bike this year in the King of the Baggers series. And after some testing, it will be available on the track in Daytona in March.
There you go.
They have made that public.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so.
It's on my show.
I know. So that's Indian Rider Radio on that one.
That's Indian Rider Radio.
So I made a post today after I listened to your show. I thought it was really good and I enjoyed it. I love, how I tell you privately all the time that what parts of interviews I like and I don't, whatever.
Right.
And this was one of the ones that I like a lot, right? And so I share it. Well, when I shared it, I started something. And I don't think Lloyd or Tim even know, but I put in there, I would like to be on this show. I want to be
Who do you have to know? Is that what you're asking?
I need to figure out what the hell. I need to team up with Lloyd and Tim. Yeah. I need to figure out what to make my bike. So when I go drag racing in the spring.
If I ask you for a racing license of any kind, will you be able to produce one? Is there anything of that sort?
If you're running a tree, I should be on your show. All right.
All right. Good enough.
Deal. I get to be on Indian Racer Radio. Wait.
No, Indian Racing Weekly.
It's brand new.
I know it is. It rolls off the tongue now.
Indian Racing Weekly. Indian Racing Weekly.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Buzzsprout.com/Indian Racing Weekly.
All right, let's see here. Is this the start? I guess let's get right to it. People are watching. People want to know. So let's go. Is this the start of a trend? If Bison Indian can close, they can all suffer the same fate. God, I told you there's okay.
Why don't you do us the favor of laying out what you know? Because you have had this long-term relationship with these guys. They have been super good to you. I mean, a year ago, we were packing up and getting ready to go to California. In fact, we
Mhm.
were landing in California this week
Yeah.
for the real-time test ride, and they made a good share of that possible.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
helped me. They
yeah,
absolutely they
and
helped with that.
yeah, and to see it now, and having gone up there and hung out with you this summer and actually saw the place, well, I raved about it, right?
Yeah. Oh,
And
it's so funny because I remember your face when I said, "Come on, Curtis," and I literally just walked in the back. You're like, "Oh shit, you really do
yeah,
this?" Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
keys to the
They
kingdom. I loved it,
they
and
treated me like family there. Let
and
me
they
do.
did. And Troy Schultz was one of the very early guests on Indian Rider Radio because that store had done so well for so long.
Yeah.
And when you see that kind of success and it's prolonged over over the period of time they had, uh, it's sorry to see it go because it proved that what they were doing worked.
Yeah.
Whatever that may have been, it was doing its thing.
So, all right. So here we go. Let's
Yeah.
get into this Bison Thunder.
Dive in, Doug.
Um,
Let's do this.
is this a start of a trend? I'm gonna say I'm scared to say it could be. It could be.
Okay.
Um, it really came down to the amount of new bikes that they weren't able to get. Okay.
Okay.
They
So that makes
didn't.
them different. How? I mean,
No, no, you're right.
I'm being a little bit sarcastic
Oh
there.
no, you should. You should.
Yeah.
So here's the pros and cons of this, right?
Okay.
I also think, and this dealership had been for sale for a while.
Okay.
So when you are playing these games of business and you're seeing trends and you're seeing blacks and reds, and that's what business people do. They
It
care
really
about.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to throw out Tim just showed up.
Hey, right on.
He just missed my pitch.
I got a text from him a minute ago.
Oh, well, Tim, you got to go back about 5 minutes and hear my pitch.
Yeah.
But what I'm scared of is that if other dealers don't have some kind of help other than just selling motorcycles, it could get nasty. But here's my other thought. So
Okay.
now we got 2 dealerships technically have closed in the state of Minnesota. Leaves only 2 dealerships in the state of Minnesota. I
Okay.
guess they'll each have more motorcycles.
Not necessarily. Not
Oh, why?
necessarily, but
You gotta
continue your
kill
thought.
my
Go ahead. I'll
positivity,
come
bro.
back to that. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Go ahead.
But that's I I love
Right.
and hate Tim.
I didn't even say I ignored it. The hell
Oh
is it?
my
What are
god,
you talking about?
Jesus! I'm drinking coffee. You're drinking
If
water.
he's gonna burn you, let him burn you.
I'm spiking heat all the time. All the time. I don't understand.
That was awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, so I think that might be one of the positives. My thing is I really liked Bison,
Okay.
and I don't know where I'm going to take my bike.
Well, and you fall in line with a whole group of other people. For example, Bison Thunder Motorcycle had a very active IMRG chapter, and a growing one at that. And guys like Pete Middlestead and so on that they were putting a lot of heart and soul into that, and they too are now lining up, going, "Where next? Where do
Yeah.
we go next? What do we
Yeah.
do?" And so, how can I help you answer what you've learned over the last few days?
Well, I want to. So you worked in a dealership that closed,
I did, yeah.
man. So did you have notice? Did you see it coming?
Uh, yeah, there were indicators. I mean, if you
What?
had paid attention at the time and knew what you were seeing.
So then, when they said, "Hey, Curtis," was it HD or Indian? I'm just curious, or
Oh,
Victory
it
or.
was it wasn't a motorcycle dealership, it was an auto dealership,
Oh,
which
that.
is equally terrifying. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. You don't hear motor car dealerships closing all that often. I don't think, right?
Not really, and if you do, they're usually consolidated into something else, or they're privately owned small outlets that just can't sustain themselves over time.
Yeah.
This one happened to be one that had been in its location a very, very long time, but its location then became pretty much impossible to get to.
Oh yeah. Like
Yeah.
new roads and new.
Yeah, we were in a
Yeah.
downtown area where it was one-way streets and parking meters, and there we were.
That's unfortunate when
Yeah.
when some towns and businesses actually just they lose because of new routing. I mean, when we were on the real-time test ride, how many the small towns did we go through that used to be a hopping town,
Oh, yeah, and we
but the
talked about that.
interstate
Yeah, yeah,
moved, yeah. So I understand that, but, one thing I've often said, right? So I get a lot of work done at dealerships, and people complain, "Hey," not saying that all dealerships treat everybody correctly and fairly with pricing, right?
right.
I, I'm not going to say that everybody's the same. I'm also not going to say
You
that I
can't.
don't think
You
some,
can't say that everybody's the
and
same, but
and I
yeah,
also am not
yeah,
going to say that everybody is fair in their pricing. Sometimes I
yeah,
think that it's a lot, but this is one of those
I'd agree.
times. This is one of those times where, and I don't think they really had this issue, but when we say support your local dealer,
Right.
this is why,
Yeah,
you
this is
know?
absolutely why.
Mhm,
This is probably the best illustration of it, but a lot of owners and a lot of guys that have been coming to the brand recently have been discovering that they get to the dealer. There is limited to almost no selection in many of those stores. And
mhm.
the standalone stores like Bison Thunder Motorcycle have really taken it on the chin over the last couple of years, really, or more, because as demand for these motorcycles increased and models were being changed and revised and inventories manipulated to get these bikes out the door, suddenly we had the COVID era, and it closed. Once that set of dominoes started to fall, this is where we were inevitably going to be.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
and I hate to always blame everything on COVID, but I do think that has a huge part. But I'm gonna real quick talk about
go ahead.
road cone. So you
Yeah,
bought your Scout 60 in the old St. Michael location. Hey, honestly, here's my thing.
yeah,
Go buy yourself a Scout, bro. Do it in the summer. I'll tell you what,
right.
you could private message me, and I will give you a list of people that are good
Yeah.
dealers that I've worked with. Um,
Oh,
it
absolutely.
and
Reach
you
out
can
to either
go,
one of us, and we'll give you a list of dealers
yeah,
that'll serve you like nobody's business.
yeah. And by the way, you can go to the Big Scout, or you might want to look at that Chief too. Just throwing it out
Just throw
there.
it out there. Yeah, good point. I was going to say it if you didn't. So there you go. Yeah,
Oh,
good
hey, you
point.
like my new shirt?
Yeah,
I got a new
I
shirt.
do like that shirt. Yeah, good
Yeah,
deal.
like bam. Um,
You going to the gym too? I see. Yeah, getting a
I've
little.
got I'm get trying to get back in it, bro. I'm getting out of the studio and in the gym.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I wouldn't count on it. No.
I'm a little bummed about the IMRG for Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's pretty tight. A lot of those guys are friendly outside, and there's like Facebook IMRG,
Right.
Bison Thunder IMRG. That doesn't just go away. So
Mhm.
hopefully we can get some rides together. I didn't join them nearly as much as I'd like to, but
Okay.
we all know that really support that kind of thing.
Well,
So
yeah, and I do too. So if you do have information about IMRG chapters that are looking for people nearby, I mean, we're happy to pass it along too, because that's really kind of the heart and soul of the owner group. Is where these guys can get together at the dealership. And when that's not available, it makes it harder on everybody. I mean, they've tried to pitch the idea of doing remote or video type shows like we do,
yeah,
or Zoom meetings or whatever. I think it loses a little something. You don't get to stand there with your cup of coffee and hang out with your buddies. It's a little too 21st century for some of us.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. Hey guys, keep
So
the questions
let's go
coming.
back. Can we go back here in a minute to what really happened there at Bison? What was the nuts and bolts of that?
So my understanding is, looking at the writing on the wall, he wasn't going to have enough bikes for the year projected,
Okay.
and I think he just was ready to get out of the business. And I
Well, let's
hate to
face it, 20 and 21 were pretty hard on dealerships.
no, no, not Bison. They did amazing.
Well, yeah. But it didn't mean that by the time they worked and hustled and got those things sold and down the road, and they did have great seasons considering the circumstances they were under.
Did that their best years.
Yeah.
Tw-
And
2021 and 19 were their best years.
no question, probably. But now when you look ahead and you see this kind of supply and inventory shortage that went from not all bad, depending on where you were standing, to now it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, you can't get one. And
Yeah.
when they say 6 to 8 weeks out and you're taking orders, I mean, I'm a huge supporter of the brand, but that points to some other issues, whether it be supply chain, whether it be internal choices that they've made in production or allocation. I don't know. But right now, Indian Polaris looks to me like this may be at least one, if not the beginning of a series of dealers that have to question what their alliance is right now. How deep do they want to go and for how long?
Yeah. Well, if it's like if you can't stay in the black, if you go in the red, how long does it take to get back in the black? I mean, those are
It takes
tough
you 10
things.
times longer to get out than it took you to get in
Yeah.
every
Yeah. I
time,
mean,
Yeah.
I,
I don't know. It looks
I wish I could have gotten him on and asked him some of these questions. And I told him, uh, as you know, I told him like I'm not trying to make anybody look bad, but
right.
it would be nice to understand, you know.
And we're speculating and we're gonna
A
make that
hundred. Oh
point.
yeah.
Yeah, and we're speculating.
I mean, I have
And
some really good insight and some
right.
good information, but yeah, I don't know their books. I don't
No.
know, but
But nor do you need to when you think about it, because at this stage of what's happened over the last, again, 2 years, regardless of the kind of years they had, when you do stop right now and look forward and say, okay, can I get motorcycles? Can I get parts? Can I do all the things I need to do to operate as a dealer? And what level of assistance am I going to get from my OEM? And that's kind of ambiguous right now.
yeah.
And it's nobody's fault. India doesn't have answers, you know? So
Do
they
you
can't
think?
tell you something they don't know.
Do you want to speculate hardcore?
Bring it.
And you guys are there watching. I appreciate everybody, um, and I want everybody to comment on this too.
Yeah,
Indian has been pretty huge about rolling out these new models, right?
sure. Yeah,
So we got a Pursuit rumored to be in the future. We got this new Chief complete remodel, which is a complete new bike.
right,
The Challenger.
right.
Do you think? And I know everybody says COVID. I know everybody says COVID, but I also know that I haven't seen their factory get any bigger in the last few years. When I drive through Spirit Lake,
Right. They're not adding a new wing
so
dedicated
are
to
they
something. No.
also? So we have more dealers out there. I mean, are they pumping out more bikes? I don't know this. I'm just, so you got more bikes being made, more models being made. You only have so much room in your closet.
Right.
And then now you have more.
But that's why a motorcycle has to leave the lineup, like in the case of this time around, vintage, you know, it
Mhm.
went out because that takes up production line space.
Right, but the
Yeah.
vintage is so close to what the Springfield was. It's not like a complete redesign. Do you know what I mean? That
I do. Yeah.
they were so similar that they probably make the same amount regardless.
But whenever you see one disappear and you don't necessarily see a brand new one fall in its place, there's one on the horizon that's going to fill that void.
Right.
Because again, you just said it, you have limited production size and space.
Yeah.
Okay. Moreover, you're now diverting a little bit more, so you don't have ready access to all of the parts and accessories and bits and pieces made by a million different vendors from all over the world to build your motorcycles.
Mhm.
Okay. If they're going to make the shift that they talk about, where they're moving toward the Indian Challenger Power Plus platform as a going forward way to approach Indian motorcycle, then there's going to be this lag in the middle. It just so happens to fall when supply chain situations, which are now being called a crisis, are happening around the globe.
Mhm.
So you're adding insult to injury when you've already been successful.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think their success is a part of this.
Absolutely.
There
A
are
huge
people
contributor to
yeah,
it. Yeah.
but also I went to my Harley dealership the other day and they didn't have many new ones. Now,
Well,
granted,
yeah,
they have
not
5 times as
necessarily
many.
that they're not in the same position. I mean, Harley Davidson is probably facing a lot of the same supply line type things, right?
Mhm. What I was gonna
But
say is they have 5 times as many closets, though.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're still producing more bikes, but they're still thin. But
Yeah.
if Indian wants to be as big as Harley,
Okay.
You're gonna need to figure it. That we need another factory.
But that's an assumption
I'm
we've
gonna
all,
spend somebody's
that's an assumption
$1 billion
we've
right
all
now.
been making for a long time. That's, it's an assumption we've been making a long time, is that Indian's goal has got to be bigger, badder, and better than Harley Davidson. They might be content for a while running number 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's
Why?
a long.
Because they're kind of retooling the direction they're taking their brand as well.
Yeah. Um, Larry or the V Twin blog says, "Is this a black eye having dealerships close in their own backyard?"
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think we're gonna have another dealership up faster than everybody thinks. There's no way that
Oh,
Indian
no, no.
leaves this market blank. I asked this radio host yesterday. I
Yeah.
told him, "Hey, why don't just some random radio
Some
host,
dude, yeah.
yeah, podcaster. Hey, why don't you open a dealership? I heard there's some region available." uh, I asked Lloyd Greer one time
Yeah.
about buying bison,
Did you?
and yeah, and I told him I would
So
happily
you're out
work.
spending Lloyd's money now.
I told him I'd happily work for him. Right.
Attaboy.
I also cut my own check too,
Oh,
and
cool.
he told me I would be horrible in the motorcycle world, and I'm like, what? He said, because you like to ride.
Right.
Yeah. So then,
That is a bit. Hey, trust me, he's not lying.
oh, that's true. All my
You're 6 days a week in that dealership, and your bike gets to park there and at your house.
yeah.
That's about as far as it gets to go. And it's hard on a Saturday to watch everybody roll in and roll out without you.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
know. I would need for the love of the game
Yeah.
clause. I don't know if you know what that is. Google it with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Really quick. So Road Cone says that the Chief is too heavy.
Scout is perfect.
Then you better get it.
Perfect.
Better get it. Reach
Yeah.
out to me privately. I'll
You
tell
can
you.
say perfect, just go with it. Yeah.
I'll tell you. So I bought my Victory at Mies Outland. It's right outside St. Michael. It's not very
Oh, you
far.
told me about this place. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's where I bought my Victory at here in
Okay.
Minnesota. So I can tell you that I've had a good experience with them. It
Okay.
was not my experience with Bison, where it became like a hangout location. Not that they're just 2 hours from my house.
Mhm.
And so it was one of those times where it's like you pop in a dealership, you cut a deal, you do a couple oil changes with them because they threw it in or whatever. And then it's time to move on. And that's just how it worked at that dealership. Doesn't mean that's everybody.
Right.
I believe they have a lot of outdoor stuff. It's called I think it's a lot of the Polaris stuff.
Okay.
So anyway, so
There you go.
Road, if you're
Yeah.
looking, maybe I'm gonna call them RC.
Do
RC.
it.
Hey, if you're looking for a dealer that's probably in your neck of the woods, Mies Outland is a pretty good one, really. So, guys, I'm gonna keep saying it, reminding everybody, if you're coming late to this, leave a comment. We're gonna get to them. I'm slowly scrolling to hitting these. So, if you got a question about dealers closing, I mean,
Let's
anything.
go back to your point that you asked me about, and that was when I was in that dealership that was closing, did I see it coming? And I mean, in hindsight, absolutely. At the time, I was kind of a middle manager. I was not necessarily privy to a lot of the decisions that ownership made.
Yeah,
And no, when the day came when they closed the door, it was literally they walked up and said, we have pretty much decided we had to do this. And, if the bomb drops and suddenly you're trying to figure out, one, do I have a box to put all my shit in? And two, where am I going to work?
yeah,
And in the meantime, you get a little bit lost in some of the things that are happening behind the scenes. And many times dealers especially have, lines of credit that they have to service. Okay. Whether it's flooring for bikes or whatever it may be, right? Sometimes just the way they cover payroll is to have a line of credit in some cases, right?
yeah,
So all that being said is when a reliable source of income, both from selling the motorcycle itself, service, accessories, parts, PG&A, warranty work, etc., incentives from Polaris and Indian Motorcycle, and when those things aren't flowing pretty steadily
yeah,
and can't be guaranteed going forward, it's a lot like figuring out that your checkbook's going to be empty by the time you notice it.
Yeah.
And so for them, I think it's kind of a proactive thing for them. He's in a position now where he can walk away and probably not get burned too badly.
Yeah.
I mean, Indian Motorcycle will take back or reassign his new inventory. He'll liquidate his used inventory. And the next thing you know, he may be okay. He may not get out with his head in his lap. But you're right. Somebody is sitting in the wings who has wanted the opportunity, has made it clear to Polaris and Indian Motorcycles business development program that, yeah, if this guy ever decides to change his mind, I want in.
Yeah.
And there's somebody sitting there in the wings. You're a free agent right now, but not for long.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it was interesting because I have Mies Outland about 120 miles from my house, but I got to get through the Twin Cities region to get to them.
Okay.
So it's not a hard ride, but it's not the easiest ride.
Yeah.
I got
But it
Lake.
takes up a day then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
say I want to go check out a new bike. It's
Yeah.
7 hours.
Well, you guys, I worked at Eagle Rock Indian Motorcycle, which is in East Idaho, and I wasn't there very long, but we served a huge area. I mean, all the way up through Montana, Wyoming, all of Eastern Idaho, Southern Idaho in many cases, Northern Utah in many cases. And so, yeah, I understand that. And it gets hard for a dealer to service an area that big effectively.
I've often told people when they say, "Hey, why would I buy an Indian over a Harley?" Harley has 5. I'm going to fictional number 5 times as many dealerships, which actually may not be too far off
Right.
than Indian. And I said, you don't have to go to an Indian dealership all the time. What
No.
I mean by that is, hopefully these bikes run how they're supposed to, and you go to the dealership for the fun or for
Right.
little things, right? Intentionally, not
Yeah.
because, oh shit, I have to get my bike fixed.
Right.
And I'm not saying Harley is like that, but for years and years, a lot of motorcycles were like that. You wanted to be
No
close
question.
to where you
Yeah.
could get them fixed,
Yeah.
right?
No question.
Times are changing. The
Oh, absolutely.
bikes
Yeah.
are being made much more reliable. And we all know I had issues with my Challenger, and there's people that have had issues with theirs. But realistically, I don't feel unsafe when I'm going through South Dakota and I know that I'm like 8 hours away from a Indian dealership. I'm not
Right.
sweating. I feel kind of fine with it. Keith makes a good point. A
Yeah.
lot of these non-mon pa stores, they're just not popping up anymore, and you have to get deep pockets. And he says Harley Davidson dealers are buying Indians. That's true. I know that the owner of Fort Worth Indian or Indian Motorcycle of Fort Worth or whatever it is, I know the Harley shop owns them. I know that.
I can speak to that as well. And, I worked for what was then called Sawtooth Indian Motorcycle. It's Indian Motorcycle Boise now. And I'm not going to take anything away from them. They have an amazing Harley Davidson store, which is directly across the parking lot from where their Indian dealership is located. And they brought in Triumph to join that store, but it was really difficult operating in the shadow of our big brother all the time. The orange and black was right across the parking lot, and they were the force to be reckoned with in that area. And
So,
we were this small kind of boutique store. It was challenging.
So what kind of scares me is there's been times where I've gone to an HD deal, and there's been times Indian falls in this too, but there's been times I go to an HD dealer and I don't. It's more like this Verizon.
Okay.
Let's get your cell phone and get out. We ain't here to hang out.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked and this is what I liked about Bison. So what I liked about Indian Motorcycle, Charlotte, Pikes Peak, El Cajon, like these are what I like about these guys.
Yeah.
Rob Gregory down there.
Coming to hang out, being able to hang out. The
you
children.
Can hang out.
Yeah.
And
I
so
saw the same thing at like Dream Machines of Kansas. I mean, Indian Motorcycle Kansas. Those guys, Wichita. Awesome guys, man. We had a blast there. I would love to hang out in that store.
Yeah.
Same in El Cajon. We had a great time there, man.
El Cajon is bomb. I mean,
awesome place.
I wish, Lloyd and Tim, if they could buy a dealership right here in Minnesota, that would be awesome. Rob Gregory, if that man could buy a dealership right here in Minnesota, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
What would suck is you get a pool of investors that are all about the bottom line, and maybe they came from Harley and they want one less person taking a bike out of their hands,
Right.
and they are like, well, fine, we can sell Indian t-shirts too,
Sure.
and that's a scary thing.
It is.
To me, to
But
me,
think of
it
it this
is.
way, somebody is doing it then when otherwise they may not be. Now, granted, it's the same premise that's been going on in the auto industry for a long time. And you guys got to know I spent a lot of time in auto dealerships before I went to power sports full time, right? And auto dealerships grow that way by kind of accumulating one another and putting them all under one roof.
Yeah.
It allows so much more convenience and it eliminates competition. Now, there's always going to be the guy across the street, whether it's Harley Davidson or somebody else. This time it just happens to go to the same guy's pocket,
Mhm.
you know, and
So as
that
long
may
as he
not
has
necessarily be all bad.
if he has the motorcycle people running their motorcycle shops, then I think
Right.
it's fine.
Yeah.
But if you take that guy from Mercedes-Benz where he made all his money, or, you
Leasing
know
Lexuses or something. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then you're like, "Hey, you're really good at F&I and running these paper. I want you to go move my motorcycles for me." You
Right.
no longer have a motorcycle guy
No,
working at a
and
dealership.
unfortunately, a lot of dealers, and maybe I'm overgeneralizing, so please bear with me here, but there's a lot of dealers in power sports and motorcycles, whatever it may be, that had their start in the auto industry, you know, and because it teaches you the basics of being a dealer, and
Yeah.
it does it pretty effectively, and then selling products. So now, that evolution has changed a little bit because you can't sell motorcycles the way cars are sold today, for example. Okay.
Mhm.
And in the auto industry, the salesperson is really becoming a dying art. It's still alive, though, in things like power sports, snow machines,
Yeah,
ORVs,
I'd say marine,
motorcycles.
probably marine
Yeah.
too, yeah.
Yeah. In marine, especially, there's another guy where you have that ongoing relationship with, he is the guy I buy my motorcycles from. And people look forward to that and they want to create that relationship. And this is why, you know, a business owner has to make a decision to close a dealership, and it's a tough one to make.
Yeah.
Okay. But the customer and those people who had an affinity to the place literally they lose a relationship,
Yeah.
you
So
know.
I'm gonna say a statement and then let's get through a bunch of these comments
Boom,
because we're
do
getting
it.
kind of backed up.
Yep.
And I told Doug this. I think
Okay.
it's in my video. It might not be. But if you have a person that has a negative reaction because they're closing, that's only because they had a positive reaction because when they were open.
Absolutely. There you go.
There's some dealers I've met across, and I won't name them. I mean, privately, I'll name them.
Yeah, you will.
But there's a fucking handful of Indian motorcycle dealerships that if they shut down tomorrow, I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's more motorcycles for my boys at Elkhart, Indiana, or whatever. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
name
Yeah.
drop another today. Matter of fact, everybody in the comments, write down your home dealer
Oh, yeah.
or the home dealer that you like to work with, just out of curiosity. So
Okay.
if you have to
Yeah. Let's
pass
do
a
that.
dealership to go to your home dealer, write down the one that you go to. All right, is that
Yeah.
cool? You could do it too, Curtis. Because right now, I'm going to do this. Watch this.
Okay.
I'm just going to put fucking question marks because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. You're
All right,
lost. You're lost. Everybody knows that.
all right, here we go. So Rob says, I bought a 2020 Ruby smoked from Bison. He loved the staff and he's going to go to Me's Outline. Yep, dude. Like I said, I can't say anything bad. Matter of fact, I was talking to Bob Cole. He says, what's up, guys? He says, Riding Chief, which by the way, we got to get you a Riding Chief hat or shirt or with my logo, Riding Chief. I'm going to work on that.
Riding Chief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was talking to Bob about it and I told him, hey, dude, you're close to Me's. You might have to do that. I don't know. So Jerry
What
says
is this?
that they thought that was going to be one of their flagship dealers. Yeah, I don't know. You would think the one in your backyard that's moving the second most amount of brand new motorcycles
In their region, right? In the Northwest, in the North Central region.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
I think Sturgis is big. What moves more bikes than them? Maybe Daytona moves more bikes than them. Okay, so let's just say top 10 in the country for
Okay,
sake
fair
of
enough.
arguing.
Yep, absolutely.
You would think they would be pretty important. So Yeah.
But and the argument that Indian makes in that regard, and I got to agree. I mean, when a dealer is committing to the brand, okay, especially a standalone store, they're asking for a relationship with the OEM that's a little bit different than somebody else who's parking their motorcycles next to three other brands.
Right.
Okay.
When you're a standalone, absolutely.
Right. Right. Because you're counting on all of the revenue sources they tell you they have: the motorcycle itself, accessories, parts, garments, all that stuff, in addition to your service department and whatever else you sell at your store. Right.
Yeah.
But because you're an Indian standalone dealer, you have to be on brand. So there's a lot of things that aren't allowed in your store.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of guys that know how to work the system and get around that. But what I'm pointing to is that unlike someone who has, let's say, Indian alongside 5 other metric brands, even if they have to have dedicated space for Indian, which they do,
Of
okay,
course.
Indian doesn't have to carry the weight. The brand, the bike, those things don't have to carry the weight.
Have you ever been to a restaurant and you said, "Hey, I want the ribeye," and they said, "Sorry, I got a T-bone today"?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, if they only had ribeyes in that restaurant and they were out, you're not getting a damn steak.
No.
And
Right.
hence why they
Yeah.
got a whole menu, right?
Right.
So Alex says that he waited 2 or 3 months. At first I read, let's see, I waited 2 or 3 months, weeks for,
Yeah.
hang on. Then you did another one. What is this?
Well, with
Yeah,
orders that have been placed over even the most recently, over the most recent period that has been measured, their dealers are being told to tell guys 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, some, and I don't know if it's model specific, part of the country, color, what it is, some 6 to 8 weeks is right on the money. Others, that's a very unrealistic and probably overly optimistic estimate by weeks.
Yeah, so I'm hearing some long stuff. So I ordered a set of bars for the first time for my Indian Challenger,
You
and it was
told me
supposed
about
to
that. Yeah.
yep, it was supposed to be here December 12th, something along
Okay.
those lines, maybe the 13th or something,
Yeah.
14th, whatever. And when I went up there yesterday, because I technically owed Bison, they ordered that without me. Without I ordered it over the phone or whatever.
Okay.
And when
You
I
owe
was up
them
there,
money.
yeah, I owed him money. So
Yeah.
I went up there yesterday to square up because I feel, I should buy my bars. Plus, if they're paid for, my understanding is that and anybody in the Bison area, if you have an order in, this is
Mhm.
public, they're telling everybody this. If you have an order in for parts,
Okay.
Polaris Industries, Indian Motorcycle Companies are going to expedite your parts to
Okay.
Bison, and they're going to try to get them there as fast as possible.
Now, are they
So,
talking? Now, what about if they ordered a set of? What if they ordered an S&S intake?
well,
I mean, are they going to then be able
who
to
would they?
back that up through S&S, or are they going to use the same process with their aftermarket as they're going to use with the OEM?
So Bison's really big about only selling Indian motorcycle branded
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
The
All right.
only
Cool. Perfect.
non-Indian
Yeah.
motorcycle stuff that they sell is exhausts.
Perfect.
So just so you know, that
Okay. Yeah. That makes
100%
sense. Yeah. A lot of guys
yeah,
do.
yeah. So that's the
Yeah.
only thing that they do. So Alex, he didn't say earlier where he was. Yeah, bro. Hopefully, I hope you get whatever it is fixed. Ask him for a demo or something, man. I don't know. I don't know your riding season. I'm not sure where you're from, but dude, we're like 20 minutes behind in comments. So let's try to get through some of
All
these.
right. Fire through 'em. Let's go.
Poppy asks, are the cheap models really selling how they hoped? I believe all the ones that are not base models are moving as fast as you can get them. Whenever I see them on the sales floor, they're always base models. Are you seeing the same thing or no?
I am seeing the bobbers bogging
Yep.
down. Okay.
Bogging down the bobber
Yeah.
ones. Okay.
Cheap
Yep.
bobber is bogging down. The price point's still a little strong for a lot of people when you can accessorize to that level, probably less expensively through other venues, right?
Well, especially a bobber that's a base. Then I guarantee that's sitting because they have those, the non-analog
Right,
or
right.
yeah, the non-digital speedometer.
But when you
I
get to
think
the
that's a
bobber
game.
trim level, the dark horse bobber trim
Yeah,
level, you're talking about 20 grand.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I
So
know.
Hard
You
for
might as well
guys
go buy
right
a
now. That's a
Challenger.
little until that bike has a little different track record. That's going to be a hard number to swallow because again, you're aiming a lot of that at the original Harley Davidson Dyna customer, right? Or the guy who had a similar attraction to that bike. And now he's going to do his own mods, but he's pretty much limited to how he gets there. And
Yeah.
the price point's going to be, but it's going to be a tough one. And, now with limited production, people are hanging onto their bikes longer. Um, some are, now looking at the option, well, gosh, do I retail it myself?
Yeah.
Am I going to get more money that way? Do I hang on to it longer? Some people are refinancing their motorcycles. Can you believe that? I mean, instead of trading, they went ahead and just lowered their payment and extended the term,
Yeah. Well, when you have a bomb ass bike, I guess,
right? Yeah.
that's one thing about, and it is interesting. Indian has done a few things since 17. They kind of really like every year they're doing something different and they're changing a little things,
Right.
even on
Yeah.
current models. If it's ride modes, if it's rear cylinder deactivations, if it's, just little things, right?
Yeah. The evolution of the product.
Evolution. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing a really good job. Where it kind of makes you want to switch, but the product at the beginning is so good that you're like, yeah, they're not game changers.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this real quick.
Yeah.
Calvin says no rush, but he wants to talk and corner Tim about the Challenger timelines. Hey Tim, if you're watching, I'm just gonna ignore this one.
Challenger cam timelines. What?
Yeah, we'll forget that one.
Okay.
We'll come back to you, Calvin. I
Yeah.
have the
Quickly
answer,
back up. Tell me more.
but until
Okay.
I'm
Let's blast through these comments.
Hey, give Amanda Bramble a call. Tell him Writing Fish sent you. They'll probably charge you double. They're taking no, seriously, they're taking their appointments right now. Trust me, I'm butthurt as all hell about it, but they are. So
Okay.
I'm gonna be last on the list, I think, this time. Rob says, is this a sign that Indian is going the way of victory? I don't think so. I think that this is
No.
it's completely different. Dealership agreements were completely different for Victory. There was huge dealers that were known as blockers. It was like 51% or 55% of all dealers were considered Victory blockers, where they weren't really trying to sell the brand, grow the brand. They were just holding it in their market.
Right. Yeah.
And we don't have to get too deep into that. I don't
Right.
see that happening too much in Indian. Indian's dealership agreements are much, much stronger. Keith says golf pros don't get to play golf either. All right, here's a good one. Lakeville has gotten their way. They treated me well when Bison couldn't get me my bike when I needed to. Hey, well, there you go, man.
Right.
Lakeville,
And again, you got to
Indian
remember
for the
too
win on
that
this one.
sometimes a dealership is sometimes only as good as their sales manager when it comes to being able to provide you with what you're looking for.
Do you think
There
some of
are
it could
ways
be
to search.
luck?
What's
I
that?
don't. Some of it could be luck.
Well, luck is one thing, but you got to be able to know. Let's say, for example, you came in looking for a Chieftain Classic.
Okay,
Okay.
let's pick something else, please.
No, I'm going to use a Chieftain Classic because it's a good example because not a lot of guys ordered a lot of those or profiled a lot of those bikes for their floor. Okay.
Right.
So maybe you picked up two, you sold them already. I come in, I'm looking for another one, or you come in. And now, though, I can go search around my region and find out who has one in stock.
Yeah.
Okay. But it takes a creative sales manager to, one, be willing to do that, two, figure out how to keep it profitable, and three, how to negotiate that deal with that other dealer. Because he may be in the same position as you. He may only have so many bikes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And often the reaction is, nah, I don't want to trade with you. Okay. But maybe he has to. And this is an opportunity for him to move something out of his inventory. So, yeah, some dealers are willing to take that little extra step and get you what you're after, and that keeps product moving. But not everyone's willing to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe they did. And Rooster, if that's what they did, that's great.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's unfortunate that Bison couldn't, because I know I've seen them and watched them bend over backwards to try to get people bikes. So I'm not sure the situation, but you know what? Whatever. Lakeville's good. Lakeville's 27 miles from my house, I think.
Yeah.
So Keith says that if dealerships were smart, they would put 100% focus on building relationships and riding with customers, put yearly trips, weekly rides, and have the GM run the business and the owners need to build. You know what you hear from owners when you say stuff like that? They say, "How does this help me sell new motorcycles?"
Yeah, there's a lot of that. They rely,
Especially
yeah,
especially the dealers owners that their main focus is in Bison's one of these is moving and selling motorcycles. They did support the IMRG, but you know what they didn't
right,
have? They didn't have like Lloyd's Garage. It didn't have a performance shop built in.
right.
So, um, you know, the biggest answer to this question it has been, how does this help me? I like the family, right? I like the
Okay,
family. Harley Davidson, Faribault. I've done some work with them. They let me use
yeah,
the sports dress and stuff. They're big about this every week. Like they got like Santa tomorrow. I
right,
mean, they literally, and then Sunday they have grown up day where it's, drink
right.
responsibly. Bottles and bottles don't mix, says Jack Daniels.
Well, Keith makes the point right there. People buy from people they trust and they like.
Yeah.
And that means that you have to have more and frequent interactions with the customer in the dealership.
Have
Okay.
you ever went to a dealership, car, or and this one fits either way, car or motorcycle, and you walk out, even sometimes even when you buy the bike, and you're like, "Damn, that was one sleazy mofo right
Oh,
there."
right. Yeah. You want to take a
You
shower.
you
Yeah.
never go back.
Yeah.
You
No.
may have the bike that you want, but you
Right.
never ever go back, and
No.
and I and I think that goes with what Keith's point is, right? You got to build these business. You got to buy from people that they trust and like. That
Yeah.
sleazy guy, you're not doing that. So I'm trying to just push through. So because we're not behind. We don't have a time limit, but I know I appreciate everybody leaving comments. Keep
Yep.
leaving comments. So I'm just going to rush through so everybody keeps up. Brad answers a question. He makes a comment. Yeah, Mies Outland. They have Polaris, snowmobiles, ski-doos. I mean, they have everything.
Okay.
He bought his Challenger at Mies. It was a good experience. Yeah, I
Yep.
literally can't say anything bad about Mies Outland.
Well, there's another good point here. Where are you at?
Show
Scroll down. Yeah.
just show it. Whatever you have it there,
Well,
you can
this is
show
the
it.
one that I was interested in, and this is the point that we were posing the question, and now Pete Milstead is the guy who has
Mm.
been in charge there and kind of running
We
the
shout.
IMR.
Hey, we shouted you out a little bit ago, Pete.
Yeah, we did. IMRG continue with the support of corporate. Nice,
That's
good,
awesome. What's her name?
excellent.
What's her name again?
Chelsea Hennig.
Chelsea Hinnon. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I'll tell you what. Anytime, and Peter knows this, but anytime, like you said, Curtis, if
yeah.
we can get things going, we'll promote it.
Oh, of course.
My goal next year is to do more IMRG rides or host my own rides.
Oh, excellent.
You
Yeah,
know, but I
yeah.
can't have flakes say they're going to be there and not.
Oh, you mean me?
Well, and this other guy I got right here.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I tried not to flake on you, dude.
Yeah. So Brad says, "Oh, by the way, don't forget Mies also has Indian."
Okay.
We've gotten to that. See what Poppy says here. Welcome to long distance riding for your local dealership. Yep. And you know what, man? It So here's the problem. Normally, if I was a normal person, I
Yeah.
wouldn't so much care. But as you know, Curtis, I'm the guy that goes, they got that 22 Jack Daniels. I want to get a video of that. I need to go see that. I need to go check
Right.
that out. They
Yeah.
got the new Pursuit.
Yeah.
I want to go rip on that. I want to
Yeah.
do. And so it's nothing for me to get up and go and spend the day there. But if I have to add 3 hours commute, that's going to be tough. Now, granted, I'm still going to do it
Right.
probably. So I'm still looking for recommendations,
You
you
know what
know?
you could do? You could just roll up into the Polaris parking lot and ask, you know, hey, while I'm here, I just wanted to, connect real quick because I need to shoot a couple of things with this bike. You have one around?
Eh, So
You know,
I
you might
emailed
find one parked in front of the store. You don't know.
that would be
Or the building.
hilarious. They
Yeah.
they come out. Don't you know who I am? I'm riding fish.
Oh,
They're like,
yeah. Lay that one on them.
yeah, they're
Don't you
like,
know who I am? Yeah. Works every time.
call
Friend
Tim
enough, man.
Sutherland. He knows who I am. He probably won't
Yeah.
answer your call though if it's me. He's gonna be like, fish. Oh, I'll get to this one
I
later.
don't think so, buddy. All
Um,
right.
but
Okay. All right.
But it'd be so funny. They walk out, they're like, "What are you doing to my bike?" It's the new Pursuit.
Right.
I'm checking out. Can I ride it? Can I check this out?
Hey,
I've
this
ran,
is yours. What do you do here?
I've ran into the corporate guys before.
Right.
I ran into a few of the corporate guys at a flat track racing event once, and they all had FTRs. It was pretty cool. But yeah, my thought is that, right? Like I'm gonna be stalking all the corporate workers so I can get my hands on a new bike.
You could do worse, man. You could do a lot.
All right. Bob says his is 4 to 5 hours one way, but it's going to be worth it. But
Okay.
I wonder if that's me's. That might be me's. Damn that. You know what though? Nobody rides as hard as Bob. Bob's that fucker can ride.
Oh yeah, dude,
Yeah.
he gets with it, no
You know,
question.
he rides. All right.
Yeah.
Where's
Where's my man Tom? Where did he go? He was telling us Tom Amico. Now, Tom and I grew up together back in Spencerport, New York. Went to high school together. Now, Tommy dude, he can cook. Okay. So we got to think about this. If we do this road trip we're talking about in March, we might want to enlist him to feed us.
Okay.
Yeah, we might want to put him on board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so he can ride and feed us?
Right, because when we're doing the whole docudrama and the whole video thing here, you need that guy who is like on the fishing boats, right? Who's the scurvy dude that lives down below. Okay, but he feeds all the dudes and they like him and they all talk to him and confide in him. You know the guy in every movie?
Yeah.
Okay, that's Tom.
Okay.
All right.
Well, listen, I'm down. Hey, I'm gonna go back up to these, but RC says message you how, bro. Instagram, Facebook. I just put my phone number on here. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. Because I had to block Tim. He was texting me the other day.
Right.
I'm just fucking around Tim. His last text to me was happy Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Let's see here. Oh, you commented. Yeah. So you commented Pikes Peak down the road from you. Yep. Yeah. Hang on. So here we go. Let me look at this. Like, damn, man, go on the internet once in a while. What is he talking about? I missed it. This is what happens when we get behind on comments.
Yeah. Now they're having conversations we're no part of.
Yeah. Knoxville is the same setup. Indian right next door. Yep. That stuff happens. Oh, yeah. I wanted to put this one. New dealership in Orange, Texas. I'm going to be honest. I don't even know where Orange, Texas is. Hang on. Just let's see. Let me see what my
I-10 is that what it is?
Okay. I'm going to see what my commute is.
All right.
Directions to Orange, Texas.
Orange is 17 hours, 23 minutes from your location by car in light traffic. Here are your directions.
Oh,
hey, I'm leaving my house now. I'll be there in 18 hours.
Yeah. Light traffic, though. That makes a difference.
So I'm guessing that he says 5 Cent Racing says that that's his home dealer. Me, I'm a free agent right now. Poppy says, what is that? Chiak. How do you say that? I'm a retard.
What do you?
How do you say that?
Chesapeake Cycles in Annapolis.
Chesapeake
Bay.
Okay,
Annapolis, Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bob was Bison. Bob and I are kind of free agents. We've been texting the last couple of days. I got people texting me where Orange
free
Texas
agents
is. Thank you.
So you got to find somebody that's got some room in the salary cap, and it's got a little, needs trying to get somebody to fill in for their fantasy league or something of that sort. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. No, I need them to fill in if I have a motorcycle. Sorry, Tim just messaged me.
Yeah. Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Can I look and see if I got anything? All right, hold on.
Hey, hey, Tim, I'll tell you what, bro.
Okay, he lit my phone up a little while ago.
Did he?
Yeah.
Does Tim want to come on here and talk about has he ever seen dealerships close?
Good God, man.
You got a bunch of messages. Yeah. Right. Well, while you peek through to make sure the earth isn't burning down.
Yeah. No.
Hey, dude, here's another good dealership. Eagle Rock. Yeah. Don't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Man, there was a couple dealers I went to in July.
Eagle Rock. You go ahead. I'm sorry. You stopped into that dealer though, didn't you, when you went to Montana?
I didn't. I didn't get to go there.
Oh, okay.
What I was gonna say is there was a few dealers that I went to on the road that I will never go to again, and I won't recommend. One day when I'm like like get me like tipsy or something and like completely switch my personality to
Right.
like asshole fish instead of just riding fish.
I met that guy. He's kind of cool. He's got his
Yeah.
own thing.
They call him Brad a lot of
Yeah,
times.
he's a little different. Yeah.
You start asking me what dealerships I don't like one of these days. I'll line them up.
Yeah.
So Tim says
Here we go.
Indian Motorcycle Charlotte. Been
That a
there.
boy. That a boy.
Rob Gregory's in class by himself, dude. Gregory Polaris, Little Rock, Arkansas. He is the fucking man.
You know, I talked to Rob way back when we first started Indian Rider Radio. He was like one of the first, you know, I want to say within the first 15 episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
I meant a million times to get back to him on a variety of stuff because everybody who goes there talks about the interaction they have with Rob. You know, they get to meet him.
Oh,
And
he answers the phone, bro.
yeah, and I love a guy who's on the floor, hands-on, and who knows and has relationships with his customers. You know, that's what Keith is talking about, is that the further the dealer, the owner, gets away from the customer, the harder it is for the dealership to kind of reflect that customer-facing attitude.
Yeah,
right?
you have to have some really good motorcycle management at that point.
Correct. Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
yeah. And
Yeah.
you know what sucks? And I'll tell you, like the honest truth, we're talking about like you don't get to ride if you work in the motorcycle business.
Nope.
Sometimes these managers are working so hard, they forget that they're motorcyclists.
Oh, you can forget that pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can it's easy to forget. And the further you get away from it, you know, when you get into higher levels of management in the dealership, you've got so many things that you're juggling all the time, and fires to put out, and you know, a multitude of, it's like having a bunch of little stores under one roof.
Yeah.
You know, and so you're managing all those things at the same time. And by the time you get done at the end of the week on that 6th day, you're ready to go home and just call it, you know. And yeah, you do forget that sometimes you're a rider too. What would you want to see happen?
So Tim says he'd come on if he wants. Let's catch up on these comments.
Yeah, go for it.
Leave a comment below, guys, if you want to hear from an owner.
Yeah. You want to hear from Tim? Tim Sutherland, he'll tell you. He's been around auto and power sports dealerships, and he knows what that looks like.
And by the way,
I will.
People want, you're going to work. You got that?
I got that.
Okay, I'll talk. You know, and one thing about Tim that some people watching may or may not know, that he was one of the bigger dealers for Victory motorcycles too. So if you want a side-by-side comparison, let's just ask the man. Let's just ask Tim Sutherland. So yeah. But before we bring him in and before he logs in and all that good stuff, let's get through some of these just out of respect to all these viewers. I appreciate it. Hey, if you guys are sharing this or giving a thumbs up, I can't actually tell. I appreciate it. If you haven't, I expect you to do it. Now that works. Jerry, yeah. So Jerry's over here. He's thinking that Lakeville's probably his place as well.
Okay.
I know you had a bad time, but Lakeville has been good to me the last 6 months.
Claiming him now. Rooster Racing. He's all over it. Okay.
I don't think I've actually said anything bad about Lakeville. Not really, right? I don't think I've said it. I love them. Listen,
somebody's had an issue with it.
I don't want to. Yeah, somebody has an issue, and it may not be me.
There you go.
Okay, I'm just going to be completely honest.
Going down here to okay. What do we got? Rob. What is Rob? Oh, Bison and Rogers. Okay. Yeah, it was Bison and Rogers.
It was Bison and Rogers. Yeah,
right. And they're the ones that had the fire, which were kind of a precursor to all the stuff that happened too.
You know what? I think somebody asked about that earlier. So let me give it a little bit. Real quick. So the dealership that burnt down was in St. Michael.
Oh, all right.
Rogers was the new location. They never actually put a sales floor together.
Okay.
But they were running service out of there for the last year, or maybe like even about a year or so.
Okay.
So they never put the sales floor together, I think. And now here's speculation. I don't know this for a fact. But would you put a sales floor together if you don't have any new bikes to put on it?
I mean, no, not unless I'd made a commitment to maybe pre-owned bikes, or I decided that I wanted to open and ramp up gradually. But no, the answer is no.
Yeah. All right, here's another. I totally agree with you guys. 2 years of leftovers, no parts available. Boat dealers and motor home dealers are all having the same issues.
Absolutely true.
There's
Absolutely true.
2 dealerships in Mississippi, and they both suck. Damn.
Ouch. Damn, that's
So,
right.
when I
Burn.
went through
Okay.
Mississippi,
Yeah.
one, I tried to meet David, one.
Oh, did you?
I
Okay.
swear to God, I tried. I asked him for his address, whatever,
Okay.
and I, like, ate lunch for a couple hours, and by the time he got back to me, I had already had to go. So, and at what time do you go, like, "Okay, fuck it, I'll go back," whatever.
Yeah, right.
So, at that time, I was trying to meet Brandon Picasso, and then I was hightailing it to Indian Motorcycle Charlotte because I was
Ah,
extremely excited to go there, um, and hang with those guys. So,
okay.
let's see here real quick. Let's get through a few more of these. You hit it on the head, Curtis. Curtis, you're so smart. I'm
I
not
get
sure.
it every once in a while, don't I?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Well,
weird.
listen, I don't bring in experts that aren't experts. AB in the house, huge, another
Yeah.
YouTuber. I'm a fan of his. David says he's going to Indian Motorcycle Charlotte. You know what?
Yeah.
Just curious, David, how far is that from you? I have no idea.
I'm going to Charlotte, North Carolina. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
I'd love to know that. Anytime a Chief is on the floor, it's gotten sold and has a sold tag on it.
Okay. And let's see who else we got in there. Who else is hanging with us?
Oh, we got lots of people in here.
Okay. Kevin. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Keith.
we got
Poppy's still here. Road. Yeah. All right. Good.
all right, guys. So if you're new, I see our numbers are actually rose.
He's got his camera
If you're
phone
just
on.
logging in, guys, here's the deal. We're talking Indian Motorcycles closing down. If you're from Minnesota and you want to ask specific questions about bison, here I'll get into one right now.
Okay, bring it. Yeah, what do you got?
They have a thing at Indian Motorcycle I got it. RC found me on social media. I got
Okay.
you. I can't read it right now, but
good.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
If you bought a motorcycle in the last 2 years or less, and it's I think it's only the heavyweights. If it's a heavyweight motorcycle, right? So the Thunderstroke motors or the Challenger, your first 2 years of services are paid for.
Okay, so you're talking about you're describing the basics of the no worries promise.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And so say you bought a bike yesterday.
Okay.
Okay. Or 4 days ago before you knew they were closing, and you were like,
right.
Nice. Okay. So
should we preface what that is for people that aren't familiar with that dealership, what that was for them?
Okay. Well, if they know, right?
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah.
All right, here, Laura, I'll back it up. Say it again. Bison Thunder has a no worries promise.
There it is.
Where they pay for your services.
Yep.
And they warranty your wear items for the first 2 years or 8,000 miles. So all your services are covered. So the way they're handling this, and this is obviously public information, is that they have reached out to all of the surrounding local dealers.
Okay.
News Outland, Lakeville. I think there's a couple in Wisconsin they reached out to. They got them on a list. They gave them a list of the people. If you have a service that needs to be done, contact the Indian Motorcycle that you want to, Lakeville, Mees, whatever.
Yeah.
They will then contact whoever's in charge of Bison, and Bison Thunder is going to still take care of your service.
Okay, so it's all being exercised through a third party vendor, right?
No, actually, I think the services.
This is something that they're doing directly.
Bison's doing it.
Good
Yes.
for them. Good. Good.
They're still taking care of their people. And then I got a little news about the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Okay.
We'll get into that in a second. Let's get through some of these. So if you got more questions, if I haven't gone over it, I want to see more of what your home dealer is. The home dealer.
Yeah, let's talk about who do you guys do your business with?
Like, I haven't seen one Elkhart Indian. I haven't seen one El Cajon. We've seen some Indian Motorcycle Charlottes though.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Amanda asked me to get on the list, but I can't swing it. Bro, me and you are on the same list. The black one.
Hey, there is David Digby. 2 Digby's, 1 Indian has dropped in. G'day, guys from down under, says David. Nice.
That's why dealerships suck. They aren't looking to build relationships for the long game. I think that's
Dealers get myopic. I got to talk to that for just a second, okay?
okay. You do that, and I'm going to listen, and I'm going to look through this real quick.
Dealers do get myopic, and there's a reason for that, because they're trying to meet goals that are difficult at best and harder to do when you have to change your sales process, when maybe you don't have personnel, when you are waiting on parts, and when you're trying to make all of those pieces fit. It can be extremely difficult to look much past the fire that's burning right in your face, okay? And so it's hard for dealers sometimes to look down the road a long ways for a variety of reasons, that being one. The other being, you don't know how much cash they have in their hand, okay? We don't like to think these guys are rich, but we don't know how much they have, how much the line of credit is, how much liquid monies they have moving around.
So
If
Curtis,
they're not moving motorcycles, they may not be, running cash at the bit.
yeah. So Curtis, you and I were talking earlier pregame, and I asked you a question. I said, I haven't seen the books to a motorcycle. And you guys comment below if you think I'm wrong or right about this.
Okay.
And put a money sign if you're agreeing or disagreeing, so we know exactly, right? So here's the deal. I asked Curtis, I said, Curtis, if you took your life savings and you bought an Indian dealership, could you become wealthy? Now, you said yes, right? You said you could.
Yeah, you could.
So is the percentage of going bankrupt higher or lower than becoming wealthy?
That has a lot to do with the individual, so I'm not going to speculate on that.
I'm writing a note
on
right
average,
now.
But looking across dealership operations of any kind, the number of them that really hold on and survive and really thrive, not so high. Not so high. Most of the time anymore, because they're cash starved. Okay. Yeah. Businesses are notoriously undercapitalized as they start. And that's really when dealerships, have that failure rate.
Yeah.
You're going to see, though, a lot of times when dealerships are going to have to work collaboratively to kind of support one another a little more effectively than they have, in order to keep them all viable when you have times like what we've just gone through and what we continue to go through. When inventory isn't there, when parts and accessories aren't there, when garments aren't there, dealers have to get creative and find ways to move product. Simple as that. You just checked out. Where'd you go?
I was double checking Tim. I said, hey, Curtis just sent you an invite.
I sent the invite. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, here's an example, right? A Bison Thunder. I'm going to use rounded numbers because I don't know their exact number. Okay. And you know what? I guarantee all the dealerships are this way. They had like 20 or so bikes waiting to be delivered with cash deposits. Well, just because somebody bought a bike, put money down on a bike, but they wait 2, 3, 4 months.
Right.
I don't believe you have to get paid until that bike is there.
Right. But now you have to, let's use it as an example. Let's say you are a single salesperson at Bison Thunder Motorcycle. Okay. And you've done what's been asked of you. You've just been chugging away, and you're out there selling motorcycles, and you got 20 on the deck that you have now pre-ordered. Okay.
I'm listening. You got 20.
That's your example.
Yeah.
You go to your manager and say, dude, I've done everything you asked me to do. I sold 20 bikes this month. I got 20 orders. I need to get paid. He says, how?
Yeah.
He hasn't received a dime yet. He hasn't sold a motorcycle yet.
Yeah. He wants his money.
Right. There is no tag on that thing sending it down the road burning gas.
Yeah.
So how then do you justify, can you keep that extra salesperson on? He just sold 20 motorcycles. Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll bring you in just a second.
Oh, look at this guy fixing his camera up. Oh, look at that.
Spirit Lake Indian. You know what? I forgot about them, Jerry. That's a good point, bro. I am like 2.5 hours away.
See, you're learning something new every day.
5 Cent Racing. I wanted to bring up this point. Is the lean technology really worth it, or should I get the base and then put the extra money in performance? Dude, that's up to you. I mean, literally, Probably before the Challenger, you never had lean technology anyway.
Yeah, just price them item by item, and you'll find out pretty quick.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, really, that's that.
Yeah. The lean technology is worth it for a reason. Okay.
If you're
Now,
going
if
to
you
be
don't
ripping
want
and
it right
cornering,
now, if it's not something you're familiar with, you'd never know it whether you had it or not. But
Mhm.
if you ride well enough that you can push the limits of the motorcycle, it's there to back you up, and it really does come in handy, and it makes the bike safer overall. And if nothing else, that's
'Cause-
worth having.
well, you have to remember that it's more than just traction control. I want to be
Correct.
very clear
Yeah.
of that.
Way more.
It realizes when you're in the corner, you're braking and or accelerating. It understands that you're leaning over.
Right.
And so your percentile of wrecking gets much bigger, and your margin of error gets
It's
much
much smaller.
Yeah.
Every
So
time.
so that's where the lean
Yeah.
technology is going to help you the most. So we'll move on from that.
Yeah.
Real quick, we'll get let's see. Here we go. We got a guest in the house.
Yeah.
Bob wants to go with us in March. We're working on it.
Yeah.
In March, we'll make it known. V Twin Bloggy says road trip. He's in on it. Yeah. Well, you guys might be talking about the same thing. To be honest with you, we'll let you know for sure, Bob, if you're interested. V Twin. I also want to get it out there, especially because Peter is watching.
Okay.
V Twin Blog will happily help promote any and all IMRG runs, get-togethers, gathering. Just email the V Twin Blog.
Yep.
Me,
I'll do the same thing. In fact, we can dedicate a page on our website to the same thing. If you want to send it to me, it's easy.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have
Larry's email.
No, I don't have a website. I just
you don't need
also
one, dude. You have an inbox. You don't need one.
So RC is not a bro.
Not a bro.
My bad.
Okay.
I mean that in all love. Okay, here we go. We got a guest in the house, guys.
Let's connect to him.
If you had a question for an owner, we're gonna bring him on right here. Oh, we got a.
You're gonna get a little echo from that.
Yeah, we got an echo.
Yep.
You can. Let's hear you talk for a second, Tim. See how it goes.
You got me?
Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, and I don't hear an echo now, so
Good job.
We're good.
You got me or not?
Bring it.
Yeah, we got you. Yeah, you're a little quiet if you want to yell like me.
Let me just yell at you. I don't have those fancy mics like you have.
Well, I'm trying to put on a good show here, brother. Are you in Sturgis? Are you waiting for the party, or where are you at right now?
No, I'm at the beach. I'm at in Myrtle Beach today.
What a shame. What a shame he has to do it at the beach.
I've spent about 10 days here at actually the mailing address this year, I think. So I'm home today.
At the mailing address.
Yeah, this is all this
Look
is.
at how you describe his house where he lives. At the mailing address.
Yeah.
Well, you got to pick up those bills once in a while, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Before they cut my television off.
Hey,
sign back into ESPN, you're good to go.
Actually, I'm only here for a short time. But Sunday we go back to Charlotte, and then on Thursday, Josh and I fly to Sonoma for the Bagger Racing League race.
Are you going to go there? Right on.
We'll
Good for
be
you
in
guys.
Sonoma.
Excellent.
Yeah, we gotta learn all the tricks if we're going to show up in Daytona and not embarrass ourselves. So.
So you're actually running. You're running your bike in Daytona or in Sonoma?
In Sonoma.
No, Sonoma is really more of a fact-finding kind of thing that we've got going on, and we do have some really huge racing news coming up. Something I can't talk about this week, but we definitely want to get with you guys and have a huge announcement on some really cool stuff and on the racing side of things coming up.
Don't be teasing me now, Tim.
It's a
tease.
It's a tease.
I know. You say
He's
this
been
now,
doing this to me for 2 years. Don't let this throw you. This is common.
And by the way, Tim, Tim, if your TV gets shut off, just go to YouTube on your phone. You can find me there.
That's I don't. Who needs TV when you can watch fish on YouTube?
Oh,
that's right, baby. Just tell me what content you want. Hey, just do you? God, we got a pretty good echo.
That's okay.
Okay, so I'll make the question quick, and then Tim it doesn't echo. So, as an owner, you've seen the struggles with Victory. Let's real quick say this is not the same thing, right? This is not foreseeing this not writing on the wall, Victory and Indian working the same way? If there's something you don't want to answer, let's just say, hey, can't talk about it or whatever. But I think that's a fair question. As an owner of both, what do you think about that comparison?
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing like that. Indian is still growing. I mean, and last year, I mean, part of the reason we don't have inventory is not because of it's not entirely because of the lack of pieces and parts. It's a lot of it is to do with the fact that Indian's growth last year was way outgrew any expectation. So it's really a growth thing as much as it is a parts thing. There's definitely parts and pieces that are slowing up the process. But when your sales are up year over year like they actually were this year, then that's part of the problem.
So here's my follow-up question to that is forecasting 2022. Are you guys scared about your floor model? What your new number of units that you're going to get? Is that something that scares you?
Yeah, it does. And part of the reason it does is because we were up last year, but we also, when we came into 2020, probably for the first 5 or 6 months, inventory really wasn't a problem. I mean, we weren't getting bikes, but we had bikes.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we're out of bikes, and we're short on bikes, I think is the scare that we have. A truck will roll in with 6 to 8 bikes on it, and we unload it, and 95% of those bikes are pre-sold before they ever unload the truck. So,
there he just got much better. That's
it is.
excellent.
Okay, cool. Yeah. It's weird. I was watching you guys on the big screen. That was what was cool a minute ago, but then it flipped to this. So maybe it was echoing off the TV. I don't know.
Let me ask a quick question about that. When a lot of the time when you talked with, when you were a standalone Indian motorcycle dealer, Polaris Industries and Indian Motorcycle, their business development guys would pitch the concept to you to create a second product, whether it was pre-owned or something else. They didn't necessarily want you out, shopping another brand if you were going to be a standalone store. But is the pre-owned market in motorcycles right now in a position where it could take up the slack from what's happening with the new market?
Close. I think close.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
We never concentrate. We didn't concentrate an awful lot on used bikes until we had to, and so we blew by. 2020, was a record year for us in used bikes, but that was just not really, we weren't out searching for bikes. We were taking trade-ins. We were selling more new bikes, and we were getting more used bikes, and therefore we were selling more used bikes. So one thing we found in this year was we needed to go out and buy bikes and search for bikes. I bought a 21 Chieftain today out of Orlando, Florida, off of a Volkswagen dealership. It was trade. So that's the kind of thing that we're doing now that we were not doing last year. So we blew by 2 months ago. We blew by our 2020 used bike sales number. So and the neat thing, I think, long term, when you look at long term, I think the neat thing about it is we're learning that business was here all the time. We just didn't take advantage of it. So we're pretty excited about the future from a standpoint of once we start seeing new bikes rolling in like they used to, or like we hope they were rolling pretty soon, then we also will have the used market as well. So we're really excited about some of the things we learned through COVID, actually, and it's as tough as it's been. We've learned an awful lot.
Does the success that some dealers have had with during the COVID era with online buying and remote selling, if you will, is this taking motorcycling and dealerships down the road that, let's say, Carvana is doing now in the auto industry, where they're kind of taking the dealer out of the mix altogether? Is that on the horizon?
That's a tough question. I don't think you'll see that anytime soon, especially in the new, but then you look at Carvana is a used program.
Yeah.
They don't sell new. So there is things like that. Rumble On, for example, was supposed to be the Carvana motorcycle industry, because it came along and was they were buying up everything, used. and
Right.
and we're housing them, in no brick and mortar. They were housing them at auctions and places, so
Mhm.
they didn't have the expense of a dealership. Rent's killer. I mean, that's
Oh yeah. Yeah.
right now, especially more than anything, when you look at the square footage, we've been looking at some opportunities, in the Carolinas, and when we look at the cost per square foot and how many square feet you need to have for an indoor automobile or motorcycle showroom, in our case, it's a lot. And
Yeah.
so, man, the expensive, and that's the thing. A lot of people, I think we hear this a lot, and a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people think, well, Indian closed my dealer, or the old one was Victory closed my dealer down. We used to hear that a lot in Victory days.
Yeah.
And Indian and Polaris, they don't close dealers unless they're way out in left field. You close dealers when,
Yeah.
when you're not making money, or when when it doesn't make sense financially, or when you want to retire or something. I mean, I guess there's all kinds of reasons, but it's normally never ever the factory closing dealers. All the dealerships, and you said it earlier. I think one of you guys did when talking about
Probably me.
need to need you need to you need to buy from your own, from your local dealer. We support
Yeah.
that. I mean, I'm a dealer, and man, we'd love for everybody to buy in Charlotte, but not really. We want you to, because if everybody bought their bike from Charlotte, then there would be no dealers anywhere, and the brand couldn't survive without dealers. So you need to. I mean, we highly recommend, buy local. Those guys need you. That's how they survive.
I've often told people, and I think we've talked about it on here, we all know that one guy that trailered his trade-in 600 miles to save
yeah.
$1,000. First of all, we already can talk about cost savings on this, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I trailered all the way 600 miles,
Yeah.
but
Do the
that guy
math.
saved me
Yep.
$800, Tim.
Right.
And now he's at your house going, well, why can't you get me in? Why?
Right.
I need a service.
I had a
Like,
dealer.
where the hell were you 800 miles ago?
Absolutely. Being the dealer in Myrtle Beach all those years, I had a guy come in one time, and he was complaining because Victory had closed his dealer, and he just kept on, Victory closed my dealer, Victory closed my dealer. And then in the same breath, he tells me the story of how he drove from Asheville, North Carolina, or somewhere to Texas to buy a Victory so he could save $200.
Right.
And I looked at the guy and I went, let me share something with you. Victory didn't close your dealer. You closed your dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You did it, not Victory. Because if you'd allowed them, bought the dealer local, allowed them to make a couple $100, and then they may have been there to service you in the future. But when you do things like that, that's what you get.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because again, the brand gets a black eye when in fact this is a business decision on an owner's part.
It is.
This is him looking at the black line at the bottom line and going, yeah, I got to do something different.
I'll tell you one thing about Doug. So he is a super nice guy. But yeah, something different might have been what he wanted to do. He might have been forecasting a little bit different than maybe Tim is, right? And then also sometimes you just want to retire or go do something else, and you find, and then there's a calendar. Well, do you go into the red before you hit? Listen, we all been to a casino where you're playing slot machine, right? And then you're like, man, it's not even still close to lining up. Well, then maybe it's time to cash out.
Sure.
Or just get out.
Right.
Why even hit it one more time? You're into it for whatever, you're already hit. I'm going to go through a couple comments quick, guys. Bob said the same thing. I said, hey, Tim, bison is big. Come on up to the North Minnesota. Just saying.
I'm sitting in Myrtle Beach, guys. I like it. I like the warm weather. And
it's bad. Yeah, I was going to say it's bad enough that you spend time in Rapid City and Sturgis in the wintertime. I mean, last winter, my God, this guy was out there with 5 layers of flannel and shorts.
True. Yeah.
But no, I meant to ask more than once, but I figured he was cool with it, so I wasn't going to say anything. Right.
I'm going to say anybody coming on new or seeing a pretty big flux of people coming in and out. So I'm just going to keep saying it. Today we're talking about dealers, Indian Motorcycle, here, Bison Thunder in the Twin Cities, St. Paul, Minneapolis. 2 dealerships closed down. It was 1 owner. So if you have a question, I'm kind of knowledgeable, listen, I'm going to be honest. BisonThunderMotorcycle.com. They have all the answers on there. I also have some of the answers because I went to the website and read it. So you can either go to the website and read it. You can ask me. We could talk about it.
Okay.
Tim is an owner. He owns Indian Motorcycle Charlotte. And so if you have a question for an owner, there's good ones like, Bob, come to Minnesota. Put them down. Would love to hear your guys' questions.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Give it a thumbs up. All the good stuff, guys. I really appreciate it. Brad makes a good point. He says, back in the day, the biggest gross was normally used stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I think there's always been something to that, using.
But he made a point, though, he said about grosses being up on new. Okay. Now, I wouldn't be so quick to say that necessarily, because as Tim will attest, there are now new fees and costs involved that are being passed along from Indian Motorcycle regarding shipping and some of these other things. If you've already been charged freight and setup, okay, some other things that dealers have to cover. These are real life costs that these guys have to pass along and package in such a way that consumers understand and accept them, because otherwise you're sitting at the closing table fighting with a customer, and there's no point in that. But those amounts have gone up as well. So you're asking customers to take a bigger bite out of their available credited dollars, what they can lend and what they can borrow. Makes it changes the landscape, does it not, Tim?
Yeah, absolutely. A good example is a shipping container. To come across, to buy a shipping container, 2 years ago was $5,000. That's what it costs to get a shipping container to come across, the ocean, and right now they're bidding at somewhere between $22,000 and $25,000 for that same container. That cost has got to, and that's got to be carried on. I mean, we're pretty lucky with the Indian. And I've got friends in some other, dealerships and other brands that are not made here in the United States, but it's still a global economy. So there's still parts and pieces that come from all over the world on this bike. And so, yes, it's that kind of thing, and I think Indian does have a new, a surcharge actually out there on bikes right now, because of transportation costs. And well, it's not just shipping across, it's the trucking. I mean, how many are we hearing, about the shortage of trucks and truck drivers and those people to move this stuff out of port? And so it makes the cost of it go up for all of us. And
us truck drivers are so underpaid. Like,
no, it's funny. I don't know where it's going, because if you talk to a truck driver, he's not getting it. If you talk to us owners, we're not getting it. So I don't know where the hell it's going, but somebody.
Listen, I have to make my own sushi. All right, I don't get
if
to.
I can find out where the funnel starts, I'm in. You were making your own sushi, weren't you? Tim, I ordered. My order now is an hour and 15 minutes out. I ordered 2 number 9s and a 52, and I haven't seen anything yet. I don't even know what this is.
2 to 10 weeks. We'll get to you.
2 to 10 weeks. You want to deposit first? Smart ass.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm on Indian Motorcycle time.
I got my shirt.
But
I don't. What does it say?
I don't give.
I don't give.
Looks like a rat's ass right there.
There you go.
That looks like a rat's ass.
Yep.
Oh, God.
All right, hang on. Real quick, I want to say this. So RC, she says
road cone.
Yeah. Hey, I apologize for calling you a bro, but I call my daughter a bro. So I don't mean any offense to that. Good night. Have a good one. We got some people asking. I'm going to real quick go over this. Cedric asks about remote tuning in Ohio. Hey, go to lloydsgarage.com. You can find all the remote tuning. Yeah, I'm not sure how far you are from Elkhart, Indian, but they're really good.
They do a good job. Absolutely. Yeah. We just topped, I think, 70 remote tuning centers across the country. I think in the last couple of weeks, we've got 13 new flash centers that just opened, just took on the flashing for the Challengers, the Chiefs, and the FTRs. And we've got 10 more that are coming on that we've got the processors and the computers ordered for. So nice. we should be raising that up to about 25 flash centers across the country. We've added 2 dealers in the UK, one in Holland and one in gosh.
Canada.
So
Didn't you
yeah,
get one?
Canada.
Yeah,
Well
Canada.
done. Well
So yeah,
done.
so
Yeah.
It's my job to know these things.
man, yeah, right.
But yeah, so lloydsgarage.com, you can find the closest. They have like a map and all the good stuff for
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
Yep. All the
So
little red points on the map, and if it's not there, and you know, a lot of it you know, is your dealer. So if your dealer is not a remote tuning center, you know, call him up, tell him, you know, he needs to do this, you know.
actually, Tim, I don't know if anybody knows this, but you guys most recently just got Fort Worth Indian.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
They're one of the new ones.
Yeah.
Do you know what YouTuber happened to go through there in July and let them ride a Challenger that had been flash and told them how good of an idea it was that they became a remote tuning center? Could you guess?
I thought it was Amanda the whole time. She's trying to tell
Yeah.
me that she's
Uh-huh.
No, his
Yeah.
stickers are on places still over there at their dealership. I think they haven't scraped them all off yet.
I still got them on my bar at my condo. I'm trying to get them off.
That's true. I left like 20 sitting on his bar. Just
Well
like,
done.
can't forget about
They
me.
look like
Fish was
coasters
here.
here real soon. Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. We got another one real quick. Question for Tim. How are the banks on loaning against pre-owned versus new? Are the rates competitive?
Yeah.
What effect is this having on on the indirect lending?
You know, it's you know, it's really funny, you know, whether it's in the housing business or even the motorcycle business, the lenders have not really had a problem, you know, lending the additional, because, you know, used values have gone up, you know, and so it does cost more to buy used Harley, Indian, whatever today. Matter of fact, it's funny. We traded for a Honda a few days ago. A Honda, one of the I forget which model it was, but we literally sold this bike to a guy a little over 2 years ago, and it came back in, and my sales manager, you know, opened the value book and was looking at the values of this Honda, and the value of it is more today than we sold it for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, so the guy that traded it back into us, you know, received more money from us this time around than he paid us for it 2 years ago. So, you know, so when the bank then, you know, when we sell that, we sell it for more than we did 2 years ago, and the bank is loaning more than it did 2 years ago. So we've not had a lot of. It's been a pretty, you know, it's been pretty smooth. You know, the biggest fear we have, I guess any of us has, is that you know, we are paying so much for used bikes right now that we'll all get caught with our pants down, you know, at some point, and it'll bite us hard. So
Yeah, you don't want to. You don't want the floor to fall out, and you're sitting on
Well,
8 Scouts that you paid 17 grand for.
and all of a sudden the new ones show up, right?
Well,
Yeah.
or in the slingshot effect takes effect too. Now, this customer has financed this bike for more money and has got more money out there, and then something happens and it rotates and shifts that marketplace. Now, all of a sudden, what could have been a couple grand upside down and maybe
Hard to trade.
handleable is now
Yep.
4.
It'd be hard to
Yeah.
trade with him, like, you know, down the road. So
Yeah.
absolutely. So that's why it's
That's
a
an
great
easy.
time to trade and go get you a new motorcycle fish. Don't wait.
That's
Yeah.
that's an easy gap upsell.
Yeah.
Okay, because then you get 20% more value. Okay, anyway, and then
Yeah, but
to piggyback on Georgia Ryder, the competitive rates usually they break those down by years. So depending on how old the bike is, the rates go up a little bit and something like that, right?
Yeah,
it
not
depends a
great.
lot on the lender.
Yeah, right. It is. Every lender is a little different, and some lenders do. But you know, we've got some really good lenders out there right now, and the ones that we use, it's pretty much the same rate across the board. They're not that different. You know, they're loaning
Okay.
money. They don't matter what it's going for. You know, the only place that really differs is when the manufacturer steps in and subsidizes the rate to,
Yep.
you know, as a sales incentive. So instead of maybe giving a rebate or something, they'll buy down the rate. So if the rate costs the same, but maybe they'll buy 1 or 2 points down to be able to offer that 2.9 or 3.9 or something like that. The problem right now is don't need to do that because we don't have inventory.
Yeah.
So, you know, so they normally do that on the slow movers, but anything moving slow right now.
Now you say that, and this is right on the heels of emails I got today and the day before from Indian Motorcycle touting another owner loyalty $500 and another incentive on financing rates.
Sure.
Leaves me wondering. I mean, we're promoting hard and we're pitching hard, but to where?
Yeah, you know, that we question that sometimes ourselves. You know, I think the positive thing about it is a lot of it is, to the previous customer. So they are trying to get that used bike into us.
Yeah.
So, so we do need your used Indian, and so that rotation is better for us because, if I sell you a bike and you don't leave me a bike, then, if I had
One
two
more out of the
options,
market.
if I had
Yeah.
two people standing
Yeah.
in front of me, and one is going to leave me a bike when he leaves, and the other guy just wants to pay cash and not leave me a bike, I'd much rather take the guy that's going to leave me a bike because
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
fills a slot,
Yeah.
and it offers another, way to try to make $1 or $2 in the end.
Yeah, when it was interesting when I was out in Indian Motorcycle Charlotte, what's it? Is it Sean is the sales manager?
Shane.
Shane.
Mhm.
It was fun. Him and I were like sitting in there, kind of shooting the shit, and we were talking about the used market. And him and I were discussing, some of these used prices and where he was getting them, and we were just kind of just shooting it up. And in this whole conversation that we're having with the world, we had, and so that was in July. I would say we're worse off now than we were in July. You think that's true or no?
Yeah,
Especially new bikes.
maybe. I mean, I think the problem we're running into now is that, bikes are just getting harder to get,
Yeah.
every day, but they, so, but,
But
you know,
then, Tim, does that a guy that goes in there today? Let's say he's going to pick out that dark horse bobber, right? He can't live without it.
right.
He has the order in. He's getting the red one. He's dialed in. He's ready to go. And we say 6 to 8 months, or 8 weeks, and the 8 weeks comes, and he's standing in front of your desk, and we don't have a motorcycle. Has this guy lost then faith in the brand, or you, or both?
I don't think we're not getting a lot of that. I mean,
Okay.
they've been pretty consistent. I mean, there's always that case,
Yeah.
that you want that certain color that they're just not painting right now. I mean, one of the things that the factory I think has done too is they've tried to streamline it a little bit, and and we may see black, for example. We may see more black.
Yeah.
We may see a black bike roll in today that's not sold. And that guy who's waiting for that red one still hadn't got his. Well, part of the reason is that they I think they're painting black bikes this month, or this week or whatever. And so I think it's the old Henry Ford thing. You can have any color as long as it's black, kind of thing. So it just makes it quicker, and makes them, they can produce more bikes if they produce less. And I think that goes back to the vintage thing. They can produce more bikes if they're all the same. So if we're only building Challengers, that's all we're building, then we can make more of those. Then we can build, 50 of these and 50 of these and 50 of these and 50 of these. So I think there is some of that takes place. So,
Well, and Fish talked about it too. We haven't seen a lot of construction going on at Spirit Lake, right? So, there's X number of production lines there. Something has to go if something's coming in. It's just the way it is. And now there was a lot of retooling when it came to Chief and some of those other things. So all of that is on the heels of a supply line crisis, supposedly.
sure.
And in all that being said, it can't be easy.
Yeah, no, it's not, but we're seeing bikes. I think what the problem is we're not getting caught up. We're not getting ahead.
Right.
I think we're still seeing, and this is my hope, I guess, going into 2022 is that if we sell, let's use a number of say 20 new bikes a month or 25 new bikes a month, that I'll get 25 new bikes a month. I mean, and you may come into my showroom, in 3 months, and I still may have 2 or 3 bikes in the showroom. But as long as I'm getting 25 bikes a month, I'm going to be happy because
everything's going to work. Yeah,
right.
everything's going to work. Yeah.
So I have a question, and I don't know if there's some of this, and I'm sure in your dealer contract with Indian Motorcycle or not, but having these challenges, and there's been a lot of this talk in the side chat and stuff. Have you or Lord ever thought about making Indian Motorcycle Charlotte a multi-line dealer? I'm just curious. I appreciate the single ones, but I can see how we're all talking about how sometimes it's harder for the one.
Guys, it's so much harder to be a one franchise store because you said it earlier. I mean, if I had if I had, say, Triumph with me, then that 5-6 bikes I've got on the floor would probably, even if I only had 5 or 6 of those, at least it goes to 12 to 15 bikes on the floor instead of 5. And you've got a whole new market of people that you can market to and sell to, and help pay their services the same way. So we go to 20 groups, and 20 groups are a group of dealers that sit in a room, and you sort of share numbers, and you find weaknesses and you find your strengths and that kind of thing, and talk about them. And it didn't take me long in the first couple of 20 groups I went to realize that the guys who had 5 franchises were making them way more money than I was.
There you go. Yeah.
So it is hard. One thing that
so Tim, why haven't you? Is it a contract thing, or why haven't you added another line?
It's 2 things. One is each manufacturer requires so many square foot of showroom space, and like we talked earlier, showroom space is expensive.
Yeah.
So in our case in Charlotte, we're a little bit building locked. I mean, we know we're sitting in a 12,000 square foot building, and half of that service. So say we got 6,000 feet or so of sales space in the front, and another manufacturer to come in, they want 5,000 square foot bay, or 4 to 5,000.
Where does it go? How do you get there?
And what do I got? I don't have it. I don't have it to give. So that's part of it. The other part of it is just availability. I mean, it's I can't just call, and I keep using Triumph as an example, because
that's because I broke in that Rocket 3
for
you.
Yeah, so I set land speed record on one. You broke it in for me.
Yeah, I broke it in for you.
So but it's I mean, I've met with I've met with the local guy in Charlotte and to try to get it, and he knocked me down with the price that he wanted just for the franchise, and there's nothing comes with it here. You can take the sign off the building and give me $1 million, and I'm like, yeah, we'd have to sell an awful lot of those things to recoup that kind of. So it's just finding availability, and just like the conversation with Bison there, I think I'm sure that he could double his income if he had another brand in there, but I'm sure in that St. Paul, Minneapolis area, everything's probably pretty got.
Oh yeah. And the assumption is, and it's easy for people who have not been around dealership operations to understand that a dealership is a lot of individual stores under one roof. It's a lot of different moving parts. And for a lot of people, they don't quite understand that. And it's hard to envision that can't work, know. But when you add another brand, it isn't necessarily the instant quick fix you would like, because you've got costs associated now with acquiring that brand.
Oh yeah,
and space and service and parts and all those things that go with it.
And all the manufacturers now are requiring huge. I mean, they all have their own furniture. Yeah, they all have their own tile they want on the floor. They all have their own light that you got to put in the ceiling. I mean, it's they all want their
they want you on brand. They want you on brand all the time.
So you mean that nice Indian table with that nice fairing fender flare? You guys all wanted that one. I mean,
they sold it to everybody.
You don't even want me. You guys would not believe how much that box cost.
I've seen the invoice. In fact,
can we do a guess in the comments? So comments have slowed down. So people, you guys want to have questions for an actual owner, or an actual guy that used to work dealerships, just for fun.
A wooden box with a fender mounted on top of it.
You've all seen it.
All been in the stores.
Yep.
A beautiful. What is it? What's the kind of fender is that called? That
is a balanced fender.
Yeah, that one. The one that I don't have.
Vintage. It's a fender off of a early Chieffer vintage, I guess.
Okay. So leave a comment of how much you think that cost.
Yeah, that box.
The box with the really
shelved box. That really, when you walk through your entire inventory of parts, garments, and accessories, nothing fits on those goddamn shelves.
I'll tell you what.
It's the truth, right?
Tim, are you willing to say, or can you not say?
I probably won't say, but I'll probably say.
Okay, how about this? We're gonna do this because I'm gonna do something. I don't ever do anything like this. You can tell me privately. I'll keep track of the comments
right over here.
I'll keep track of the comments. The person that gets closest, I'll send them something.
I'll go warm or cold. How does that sound? I'll throw it out there.
Okay. We'll play the higher lower game, and then you'll say pretty close.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right. So We already got some, so we'll just try. So what does 6,000 look like?
Pretty warm.
Oh, so 12.5 is a little high.
That's a little hot. That's a
little
little too
high.
far. That's a
Okay.
little cold. Yeah, it's cold. That's too far away.
Okay, so
It is
we got Cedric with a 5.
He's warm. I think we probably ought to stop at that between him and the first guy. Let's go with that.
Okay. All right. So Calvin and Cedric, I'll get you guys a t-shirt or something. I don't know. I don't know if India, do you guys want to use t-shirt? I'll sign it. I have an Indian Motorcycle Charlotte t-shirt that didn't get taken from me when I left.
What, you snuck off with one?
One.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
One in each size.
One in each. Yeah, one saddlebag full.
Oh man, my stuff was so. You missed me on that trip, but I was way down. Matter of fact, you know what I did like a month ago? I had to warranty claim my rear shock.
From packing stuff out of my storage, you tell that. Yeah. But they do require an awful lot of it. Yeah. Very expensive pieces of furniture and fixtures and stuff to become a dealer. And it even goes down to the wood on the floor. I mean, it's not a cheap venture to get into. But and you're right. I mean, and I hope nobody from corporate is listening to this tonight, because I'll get in trouble here. But
they don't know who I am. It's cool.
One of the biggest complaints that I have had to them, and we've talked to an awful lot, is that and you use the word flagship, dealership, and I am a big proponent, I guess, that if from a corporation, if you want to be an Indian only dealer, then there should be something coming from, because there's not, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It needs to be incentivized.
It needs to be incentivized.
No question about that.
And whether I pay just a few dollars less for each bike, or I get a discount on parts, or there really needs to be
priority
a program. There needs to be a program for a guy who will, hang your sign up front and nobody else's, because it is a better experience. I mean, I feel like, we can't offer that.
I as a consumer 100% agree with you. When I go to some dealers that are close to my house and they have their little Indian section, but you can walk into the other building that has every single thing else. My experience there is not as good as when I'm at Bison, Indian Motorcycle Charlotte. I mean, I can just come.
Well, and I think from a service standpoint too. And again, I hope I got a lot of friends that own multi-line stores, so I don't want to get in trouble here with those guys. But I think there's truth to that too. When a technician comes to work in the morning and he works on an Indian 8 hours a day, and he does that for a period of time, he becomes very familiar and becomes a professional at it, I guess you'd say. Yeah. But if he comes in and he works on jet skis one day and snowmobiles the next day,
but don't be afraid to say it either, Tim. He's more profitable.
Yeah, he's
more profitable.
He's more profitable for sure. He's more profitable
every time.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
the quality of service is different. So,
right,
it is. The experience is different.
The experience, yeah.
And and one thing that you'll notice, and I guess this is probably a plus for Harley Davidson, is you won't see any of that in the Harley world. I mean, if you're a Harley dealer, that's the only sign you're going to see hanging on the door.
Yeah, it's very rare.
Which was a concept that they pitched a lot very early on to these guys, is that these were going to be boutique type, style stores. The standalones were going to be protected. They were going to be important. They were going to be, a big part of the marketing and branding of this motorcycle. Only to see that didn't happen. Not to the degree I think they ever would have wanted.
Yeah,
I mean, there's guys like yourself. Right. That's the exception.
Yeah, there should be advantages for guys like Bison. There should have been, and guys, like us, but that are, brand loyal and try to give that experience. And it's because it is a very costly.
So let's ask. We're coming up on a couple hours here, and I know I've got to keep moving on. So Tim, thank you so much for dropping in, because
sure.
I mean, you knock it out of the park again. You're going to be out there racing. You're going to be doing all kinds of other cool stuff. We'll stay in touch. Don't you worry.
Yep, absolutely. We will
We'll
have some
find you.
coming up, so everybody stay in tune for that. And on the racing side of things, and yeah, I think I heard you announce earlier we will be. Our plan is to be in Daytona in a King of Baggers race.
Yeah, that was public. That's public.
That's
Yeah.
public. So Lloyd had already tossed that out there way too
I'll tell
early.
you what I haven't got. I haven't got any sneak peeks of your guys' bike. I don't know anything.
There's a reason for that.
Oh,
that's
dude.
cool. I don't ever let anything out. I don't let anything out of the
Go listen to
out
the
of the bag.
podcast episode. I picked on him for the better part of 30 minutes. I got nothing.
I call BS. I have never let anything out of the bag.
That's
Just
true.
saying, I deserve a picture of what you guys are running. Do you
All
remember last year for the first Bagger Racing League? I asked you to.
Oh yeah.
I was like Tim. I think I told Curtis. I was like, Curtis. I called Tim. You don't have to have a racing license for Bagger Racing League. I asked him to just put a bike together and let me go run it around. Listen, I would have taken my Challenger, but I still owe like 28, 30, that whatever I owe on my bike. If I wreck that shit, that's gonna really suck. But if you got some like thing laying around,
yeah,
I'd ratchet out.
It's okay. That's what I just heard you say, Curtis, is if you're ex by shit, it's okay.
No. Hey, no, but hang on. But if your stuff is just sitting there, right? We could fix that stuff, for a couple grand. But all of a sudden, I got a wrecked bike that's now only worth $8,000. I still owe 30. I'm not trading nothing in for a while, no matter what that rate is.
We'll find a way to tear tires off the one you have. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Well, I do appreciate you coming on.
No, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. Absolutely.
Real quick, I thought we had something else. Calvin talked about cams. Yeah, everybody wants me to get cams. I told him
he's going to blow this thing up. Don't worry.
And then
the cams are on their way. We are setting appointments, and I don't know, just real quickly, I'll jump in there and I won't take but a minute, but I know there's a lot of question on why we are asking everybody to come to Charlotte to do the initial cams and do those. And the biggest reason is it goes back to the tune. We want to tune these bikes. We want them on the dyno. We want them on road logged. We want to tune. We got to build a tune, for this. So before we can start, the cams are worthless without a good tune in it. And we want to make sure that when you leave with these cams, you leave with a tune that is specifically for your bike and works for your bike. And unfortunately, we're the only place that can do that right now.
You mean fortunately?
Well, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, it's not that we're trying to be hogs and do all the business. We will be opening this up to some of our flash centers once we and there's big news coming there too. I mean, that's another. I got a lot of big news coming.
You just stay in touch then. Just call anytime.
Yep, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Have a good one.
Yep.
All right, real quick, we got a couple things in here. First of all, Bob says, I never came out the closet. Okay.
Oh,
and David thinks I'm here with them.
Okay.
A different David, he says, Fish, my Challenger randomly stalls at lights with my clutch fully engaged. Any suggestions? Okay, so two things. And one of these things, the Lloyd's tune can possibly most likely fix it.
Yep.
That's an ECU tune.
Correct.
But Indian just came out with a VCM flash that also could help it. So
but that is based on just the low. It's on the pretty much everything at idle speeds, right? Idle and off idle.
Clutch fully engaged. That's probably an idle, even if you're moving down the road. Yeah. So David, those are my two things. So go to your dealer, your local dealer, wherever. Have them. Assuming you don't have the Lloyd's tune. If you have the Lloyd's tune, you're still having this problem, you got to go to the Indian guys, have them tune it, then reach back out to Lloyd and them if you need to. But go to the Indian guys first, because that should be under warranty. You bought your bike probably same time as mine, no matter what, it's available. So do that first. Go to Indian, ask them to the current updated VCM flash. That should take care of it.
Follow it up.
If you do that and it doesn't, reach out to Lloyd's Garage. My boy Ryan down there, he is really good. That's who I would recommend. That's who I roll on my bike. So
right on.
Even if I am on the blacklist.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. The Air Force Reserves make me stand up early. You made me feel better about buying my Indian UR rock. Hey man,
Hey, there we go.
you're in my region.
Yep.
Reach out when we start having nice weather, and let's ride, man. So
Right on. Hey, let me plug it one more time before we get too far away. Brand new podcast. It's available right now through pretty much any of my social media pages, and you'll drop into Buzzsprout. You'll see the link there.
can
Indian
you get it
Racing
to?
Week-
Can
yeah,
you get it from IndianRiderRadio.com?
not yet. That
You
link is going to
cannot.
be set up very soon.
Okay, but hang
yeah.
on, if they search
Racing Weekly, you
on
probably won't find it yet
Buzzsprout,
on most of the other places.
what about
Okay,
Buzzsprout?
it's on Buzzsprout. So if you want to go buzzsprout.com, look it up that way. Otherwise, you can connect through it through my Facebook and Instagram pages and that kind of thing.
Yeah, which is all Indian Rider Radio is his Facebook and everything,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
Go
go
check it out.
there.
It's all-
Indian Racing Weekly has got its own Facebook page right now, website to come, and some other things working with that as well.
I'm just saying, Tim is 1 week. He's 9 days away from doing testing
Yeah.
in Bagger Racing League or whatever, some Sonoma.
Yep.
Maybe that's your next episode.
One might have to think about that.
I think you need a co-host because somebody needs to shake his damn windows.
All right. Well, we can go in on that. We'll catch up on that for sure. I think that's a great idea. All right, man. Hey, I've had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me. Anytime anybody wants to drop in, IndianRiderRadio.com, check out our podcast. Indian Racing Weekly is brand new. Michael Locke, CEO of American Flat Track and AMA Pro Racing, is with us to kick things off, and we're gonna have some fun with it. We'll see where it goes.
All right, man. Well, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate
night,
your
guys.
insight and the banter. I do appreciate it.
Always
So,
a pleasure.
talk to you later, buddy.
Peace.
All righty, guys. Well, now you just got me, and I'm sorry. I guess before everybody bells, I'm not exactly quite done. So this is what we're gonna do. Real quick, Cedric, I owe you something. Can you even in the comments, not this comment though, like message me on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, send me your email address or one-way Insta, what is it called? IM me. And yeah, I'll send you something. I don't know if you like hats. I don't know. I got hats we got some stuff. I'll message you, but you got 2XL. I see your shirt. So I'll take care of you on that one. Who was Calvin, right? I think I got Calvin. Let's see. To inform this guy's right here. Lloyd's from real get it done. Yep. So Calvin was agreeing with me on that. Bob Cole, thanks, guys. Hey, once again, I'm going to say something. I have something up here in the corner. First manufacturing company, the vests. If you are interested in a vest at all, if you wear that, I do. I have my patches on them. I actually have a new one that doesn't have patches, but it's more like the club style cut. So I can just throw it on when I'm going to the gym and stuff. Fish 15 gets you guys 15% off. They do throw support back to the channel. So I'm just throwing that out there for you guys. Bob, reach out to me, boy, because we are thinking about doing something fun in March, and you have a truck and trailer could easily join us as well. Guys, 2 hours. And I think this is one of my biggest shows. I really appreciate you guys. If you guys haven't hit the like button, please hit it. I hope I got to everybody's questions. The comments kind of slowed down. So I'm assuming we got to you guys. Hit the subscribe button. The topic isn't necessarily done. So if things start arising, I'll gladly help everybody out. If you own a Bison Thunder lifetime powertrain warranty, I almost forgot to tell you guys this. You need to go to their website and you need to read the fine print. I don't know how other way to say it, but it's effing ridiculous. The things you got to do to keep that lifetime powertrain warranty. Okay. It's a lot. It's hard. You got to keep every receipt. You have to get things approved. It's a lot. Now, you also bought that bike and a lifetime powertrain warranty might be a big deal to you. Me, I probably will have a new Challenger or a new something in 4 or 5 years. And I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm not thinking 10 years down the road, but if you're one of those people, you need to go read the small print. It's important, guys. Seriously. So, you have to you have to keep up with your certain maintenances. It's not huge. You got an oil change or whatever every 5,000 miles, which isn't a big deal. Every 2 years, you have to get the valves checked. The thing is, you need documentation showing that you had it done. you can't go back later. You have to have it, right? So it's I think the small print says something along the lines of, it's your job to prove that the maintenances have been done, not their job to not prove that you haven't done it. So I'm just giving you guys the heads up. But that's a third party that's out of Bison's hands, but they will take care of the customers. And guys, man, I think that's it. I don't know anything else. I got 30 seconds. If I get a couple comments real quick, I will maybe say something. I do appreciate. So Steve, send me a hat and I'll send you. Find me on Instagram. That's the easy way. Just Instagram me and we'll talk. I'll send you a hat. I got some hats. I'm about to put a new order of these beanies in because it's cold as hell up here. So yeah, I'll gladly send some stuff. Thank you guys for the compliments. We got 17 seconds. If anybody's interested, let me know. I guess that's it. I don't know. All right, guys. Ride safe. No, hell nah. Ride fast. Ride hard. Say hi to somebody you don't know.